beautiful air conditioning goes away. The heat of summer descends upon me. Hey, I'm Eric. I'm making a game that's called the Godkiller. It's about your own personal fight against the god of a universe. You get to control a character who is introduced into this world. Maybe likes it okay to start. Eventually is not happy. And it's a bit of a conflict with God, the character God in this game. And anyways, that's the story part of it. The mechanics of it are pretty interesting. It's a top-down 3D puzzler. If you play games like, say, Portal, or where you have to figure out puzzles but in 3 dimensions, and you have to kind of be aware of what the space is around you and where things are. But there's like a linchpin to solve in a level. Like you would say, you're not making any progress until you see the correct way to solve it, and then you've solved the puzzle and you kind of move past the level. Sometimes there's more than one way to get past it, and then there's a few levels that aren't really so linchpin based. They're not so much of a puzzle solving thing in this game, but that using your mind to figure out how to move through space is key to the whole thing. So thanks for indulging me there. I'm trying to practice explaining my game a little bit. And I'll get lots of practice, but it's not really time for me to be good at it yet. So let me tell you what I'm up to. This is a live coding session, and I have taken this device, this thing called the Leap Motion, a little piece of hardware. I've used it to record hand movements. There's some software that comes with it that works just fine for recording hand movements. Now, that software, I don't want to distribute it all with my game. I don't want this device to be part of my game. Nothing against it. It's a nice little piece of technology, but the idea is I just use it to record hand motions, and then those hand animations, those animations of hand movements will be played back within the game with a minimal set of code. I want to redistribute the smallest amount I can within reason. I'm not going to worry too much about a little bit extra code, but I don't want to drag like the whole SDK into the project. I definitely don't want to have a requirement for a user to have a device. That would just destroy it. I don't want to have a requirement for a binary that's part of the SDK, because that would kill my cross-platform support. So what I've got is, and I apologize because I've departed from my format a tiny bit. I almost always just start with a demo that includes the game, but because I've created this other new project, it's not real easy to switch over to the other project. I'm not going to go demo the game. I'll demo just briefly what the player does. That's what I'll do. That's the demo. I hit play here. I'm going to switch over to the screen. Alright, so this is a previously recorded set of hand motions that are being played back. Those hand motions are stored in a file. They're read into memory by this code that is from the SDK, or at least the code samples that are shipped with the SDK, and they're used to change the rotations of the different bones that make up the hand. And what I did yesterday was I took the software that somebody else wrote as part of the demo, and I copied it across into a separate isolated directory or set of directories. So I'm still kind of checking to see how much I can remove. And I'm particularly interested in anything that points to a binary. I hope there's no dependencies on binaries in here, because then I might have to do something like sort of reverse engineer the binary, or at least figure out what parts of it are needed. In the end, I don't need anything Leap Motion specific. Those recording files, they've got sets of frames. They have frames. Each frame is a set of all the rotations that are applied to the different parts of the hand. So in the end, it's just simply, at a given point in time, which frame are we showing? Maybe some interpolation between the previous frame and this one, and set the rotation on all the joints such that the hands are animated. I say just that, and then when I say it out loud, I realize that's actually quite a lot. But all the tricky stuff that's proprietary and specific to this piece of hardware, I don't need it. I don't need it. I don't need all that cool code that somebody wrote that analyzes a buffer of depth returned by this device, this infrared emitting detecting device. I don't need that. I just need code that plays back the animations. So I am seeing if I can pull that loose. It's kind of like somebody gave you a big pickup truck, and you don't even drive, and you don't have a parking space, but you love the air conditioner in that pickup truck, so you try to pull out the air conditioner and hook it up to your window in your apartment, and then it's still attached to that giant truck, but you don't want the truck, you just want the air conditioner, and the air conditioner wasn't necessarily designed to be standalone, but you know there's a way. There's a way that that air conditioner can function without an entire truck along with it. So you know, like for example, it's got to have a power source, and that power source is going to come from the battery. So you try to pull out the battery. So that's the kind of thing I'm doing today. Just seeing how I can get the playback code free of the rest of the SDK. And I don't think it's going to be that hard, but I just doom myself by saying that out loud. So all these classes that have got GK in the front of them are classes I copied across and just gave them a different name, and they reference classes that are the same type. And I'm curious, if I take out using Leap, what fails? What fails? Nothing fails. Is that true? Let me build. Okay, cool. I can get rid of that. Let me just close all these files. I'm just going to go through and look at each one of these. Okay, what is tool mode? I really shouldn't need anything related to tool model, because my character's not going to hold tools. So what if I just delete tool model? Before I start hacking away, let me get this on a Git repo. That will make it so that if I do something dumb and I want to go back, I can go back. Alright, what's the name of my app? It is Nothing. Oh, maybe I need to save it. It's probably like the app. I think it's when you build it. So let me just. Q. Alright. Now, start deleting code. The joy of deleting code. It's a great thing. Okay, what if I just delete the tool model? Just delete it. Try building just to quickly see what fails. I don't think I need the tool model. Whoa. See what else references to them all. Okay, don't need that. Okay. Should be the end of the tools. Okay, just a quick check. Am I still playing without issue? Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Okay, this deserves a git commit. Removed. Tools. Support. Okay. So what else? This using Leap is one that scares me. I'm just kind of curious what's actually using it. Using something outside. Let me just see. Build there. Okay. Hand. So where is hand defined? There might be one that's in like a binary. Let me do this. So if I say namespace leap, what comes up? Oh. So there is some stuff that adds to leap. Let me see. Is it here? No. Okay. So one thing I can do, to make these really clear where they're coming from, I can do that. Leap hand. It's coming from leap hand list. Oh man, there's a lot here. Frame is one I know I need. Frame is one I know I need. And it comes from it comes from assembly browser, huh? Okay. So that's kind of bad news. I might be okay with that one if it's really just kind of a data thing. Well, let me keep going. Let's see, where was I at before this? Okay. Ooh, this is one I'll enjoy deleting. Delete. Really? You need a friggin' vector? A vector you need. Couldn't use a unity. A unity object instead. Okay. They probably had a good reason. But I'm faced with the bad news that many of these definitions do come from binaries. Many, many, many. Anyway, put you back how you were. Really? Okay. That's weird. Friggin' annoying. That would be a lot to reverse engineer here. Lot. So let me look at one of the other ones. Take out leap here. What breaks? I don't know. So this kind of leaves me with a quandary. Alright, let me think about my options. Number one, distribute leap SDK binary. What platforms? Number two, look for Leap SDK source code. Maybe they already distributed it. Maybe it's just not in the package that I downloaded. If it's open source, then can copy over stuff. Need. Number three. Delete as much functionality as possible. See what remaining Leap objects, interfaces remain, and reverse engineer. For that, need to review EULA. Need to review EULA. Okay. Number four. This is one I'm feeling better about. Create a converter that loads the frames translates them to a Leap agnostic format. So there's these files. They can get loaded into this frame object by the Leap code. Once I have that frame object, I've got all the data. Now there's one piece missing. It's that all that data needs to actually be applied to the bones to update the hand. So the easy part would be getting the data. The hard part might be creating code that applies the data to a hand model in the same way as the Leap would have. That's kind of a nice way to do it. Let me think, is there any other shortcuts to that? Some other follow-up questions. Maybe I can load in each frame and apply changes using Leap code, and then measure rotation deltas on every relevant transform. I don't know, that's one part that's missing in my understanding. What all is it doing to make those hands move around like that? So, for example, let me Let's look at this hand controller thing. What is it actually? What is it? What is it? Well, here it's nothing. It's got some instances it's going to make of the left and right hand. Okay. But suppose I just threw one in here just to take a look at it. This is actually a poor example, because I'm pretty confident about manipulating this type of thing. I understand. Okay. One weird thing they did, which fills me with a little bit of dread, or I should say, makes me slightly apprehensive. They used to have some other prefabs in here that were human-like. Apparently they were removed. So if I go to these physical ones, let me see, what does that one look like? I think it looks like nothing. I think, if I remember right, it looks like absolutely nothing. And I'm like, thanks for not including an example of what I actually wanted to do, which is not to have these disjointed hands, but I wanted ones where the mesh forms around the rotation of the bones. I think I'm just ignorant of how that works. I shouldn't be upset at them. I'm just kind of ignorant of how that works. So it would have been nice to have an example of it in here. And it's probably not that big of a deal. But why did they remove these things? I don't know. I don't know. Like, I've got another prefab that's like that. Off of my other project, where it's got fully connected mesh, and then the rotation of individual digits and stuff, it deforms the mesh around it. I think it's just an area of models I'm ignorant of. Okay. So it seems like maybe it takes some kind of snapshot of the model in question, and that snapshot, it would be something I could play back more easily with my own Unity code. I would find a way to serialize that snapshot to some kind of file, and I would just forget about the format of the leap file. I wouldn't use that to play back my animations. Okay. Amazing how many options I have here, but most of them are kind of bad. Number 5. Forget delete motion. Just design some reusable animations. I've done stuff like that before. That would mean I would also have to do a lot of scripting. Scripting is so overused. Let's see. I'd write animation files that go with audio. That's a lot of work. It's kind of like the most low-tech of the solutions so far. So, any other options? Let me Google a little bit. Play hand animation without leap motion SDK. I think that question is not one that a lot of people have asked, so I just don't expect many people to have thought about it. Okay. Leap motion SDK source code. Let's take a look at this. Here's the Unity modules. That'd be cool if it was all right here. Stuff. Looks like what I already got. Let me see if I can find one example of so comment this out again. Let's see what blows up. Hand I was looking for, I didn't see it there. What else? Hand list and controller. Okay. Yeah. I have enough if this is like the same version as what I downloaded. Data structures. Got vector? No. I don't know. I mean, it kind of looks like it's here. It also looks like a different version. It looks like it doesn't have that recorder app that I was relying upon. I guess I should also consider, like, originally I didn't want to use the newest version of their SDK because it didn't have play record functionality. But if I start looking at all my different options, like, most of them are harder work than figuring out a way to capture the current positions of objects in a frame. So let's change this a little bit. Newest SDK on looks like no binary needed to verify. Okay. I need to double check too. These binaries. So if I go into here, yeah, this is probably it right here. No? No. Now, Leap C# bundle. Mac OS. That's the binary. And yeah, dudes, that sucks. Those are stupid binaries. Okay. So I guess what that means is, like, I could probably distribute the binary for Windows and Mac and be okay. It does create a little bit of extra risk for both those platforms because, like, it's an older SDK, it's an older DLL. It's not the supported one. I mean, even if it was the latest supported, there'd still be risk. And then, like, as soon as I try to go to another platform, I need a different solution. If I try to go Xbox or PlayStation, need a different solution. So I'm just going to put a minus on that one. 2 minuses. Risk and cross-platform. Sucks. Extra work and extra work to write recorder, and maybe it doesn't work anyways. They're all bad options. Let's see what remaining. Could be a ridiculous amount of work. Just add another extra one. That option's dead. That one I'm never gonna do. Okay. These are minus signs reflecting how bad I think it is. Pretty certain it will work. Lots of work and not a good result. I think I'm gonna do this one. I'm just wondering, is there any other way I can get through this more ably? Because this is gonna be large. Well, you know, I'm going to explore this one. I'm going to explore this. So, let's take out all that. Here's my inactive options. Here's my active option. Okay, so let's see, what would first steps be? I don't need to keep working on deleting code in the code base. The only reason I might do some more of that is just if it helps unclutter it a little bit. Because I already know with this option number 4, I would need to figure some way to transfer this over to like an entirely different format and entirely different playback. So the way to approach it would be, there's some different things I gotta do. Find a way to get all the frames, all of them, and look, not tied to playback deltas. Just want all the frames, period. Find a way to apply any frame. Okay. See what code executes to apply the frame. Hopefully all in source and not binary. Okay, that's my initial investigation. I might even jump to this one, because this is like, these first two are things I need to do to make the solution, and this one here is gonna like help me just verify the solution, or at least inform my approach. So I know there's some code in here. Let's see. GK recording controls and the playback. This is just a high-level controller, and inside the hand controller, let's bring back in the binary definitions. There's going to be something. Could take out the physics model stuff. Just see how much work that would be. Okay, update hand models. Fixed update. Alright. So what I think this is the top level of it. So I'm just gonna use the execution to help me do my exploration for me. Run this in the debugger. I'll tell you one really nice thing is being able to kind of jump into the player fast, in the debugger fast. Oh, why, build all? Because there's much less code here, so it compiles pretty quick. My game is taking me like 30 seconds or so each time. I need to see if I can make it go faster with some ASM defs, assembly defs. I think that's what it's for. Yeah. Okay, so here we go. Hand physics. No hand physics. Frame. Invalid frame. Oh, no. No, I think we've got no frame left. Or, we got no frame yet. Is physics enabled? It is. Okay. What did it pass in? It passed in. Okay, let me see. So it passed in hands as the second parameter. All hands. Okay, it's the list of the hands. Okay, we've got no hands yet, so let me set a breakpoint for inside of here when we finally have hands. And we'll just hit play. And now we got a frame. We do, we got a frame. Yay! There's the hands. There's one. Cool. So it'll take each hand. The hand, it's got all kinds of information. Oh my god, so much. But it's the type of information you'd expect it to have. It's very detailed, kind of anatomically based information. Palm, thumb, fingers, all that kind of stuff. Okay. So you're going to take one of the two models. What's a model? No? Okay, model is null. Maybe there's still some initialization that's happening. Okay, now we've got a model. What's the model look like? Okay, information that's roughly anatomical. It seems like a simplified version of the leap hand structure. So what's this up here? This is okay. Set the leap hand. update hand. This sounds interesting. Set the positions. I'm a little bit lost here. It's saying set the positions, but it's not passing anything anymore to update it. So, oh, you know, maybe it's like this information. Yeah, okay. So we're inside of the skeletal hand. And where did I get this instance from? I'm trying to figure out if the thing that is being acted upon is from the frame, or if it's... I'm trying to figure out where the frame data is represented, because way down here I've got update hand models, and it's passing the frame hands, which should have position information about how they're set up. Okay, and then so I gotta see where that frame data goes, basically. So then down here, called update hand models, past all hands. Okay. So at this point, the hand model is not bound to anything in the scene, I believe. But as soon as you call set leap hand to set the leap hand to this hand model, I believe it is potentially able to be updated with the position information that came from the frame. Okay. So it's going to go to all these fingers. The fingers, I know, previously also had a binding to the leap hand. It was performed, so I know that they have information that would basically allow the data that's inside of the fingers to be applied to the hand. Ah, now I'm starting to get happy. Because I see, I don't know what else I would expect, but it's just good to see it here. There's code for setting the position and rotation of the bones. And the joints. So if I say get bone center, it's code in the finger model, it'll return that. And I know that this controller thing is the leap binary defined thing. Oh, I'm wrong. It's in source. GK hand controller. Okay. Okay. So at some point you got a transform and you were bound. So it's just going to. It's bone. What's finger? Finger. I think finger is leap defined. I think bone is leap defined. Binary defined. Binary implemented. Transform point. Okay. So, thinking about it a little bit. All these frames are the end result of them, I think, is right here. The end result is that the transform position and rotation for each of the bones and each of the joints in a finger is going to get set here. So this is probably the information I store. The only thing that's making me think it might be a little bit off is like the scaling of it. I think they've got the hands at like they're already based on the origin inside of the scene, so they're already at 0, 0, 0 or something like that. So I don't really need to worry about the position being wrong because it's not local. I can always apply whatever offsets needed. And let me see. I'm like excited in a dumb way that I'm at 499 views. All I need is just for one looky-loo to come in the middle of this, and he'll be, or she will be, number 500. I'm gonna be like watching, and I'll make a ridiculous scene when that person drops by. Okay, so I could record from this stuff here. I could make some kind of capture on this stuff. This is all there is as far as affecting the scene. And I don't need to know how all these calculations are performed. I can just simply retain, store, serialize and store the position and rotation that was applied for any given frame to all the bones in a finger and all the joints in a finger. And that would do it. It would also be a more compact format than the original. I'm kind of curious about the frame data, if it's expecting interpolation. If I get 30 frames per second from it, something like that, I might just do it the easy way and have no interpolation at all. Okay, so that's what happens. The fingers, all 5 of them, they get updated. Okay, then there's also the palms, wrists, and forearm. Whoever just joined right now, you are the 500th viewer, which is not impressive to anyone, but maybe me slightly. So welcome. You don't have to say hello. You can lurk, you can leave. You have done your part in getting my count to 500, and I'm kind of a loser for pointing it out, but anyways, I'm sharing this very small and insignificant moment with you. Okay, so back to actual things that are sort of important. Okay, so this is it. It's just going to be doing updates to position and rotation, and that's the output. That's the output of this thing that matters to me. It's the input and the output, because I will store these values in some kind of file, and then playing them back is as simple, although it's not that simple, as applying the position and rotation to each of these things. So it means I would also need to have some class of my own that manages these values, or I could make a stripped down version of this one. Has no, oh, this one already is pretty stripped down. This one's probably pretty good for reuse. Well, it derives from GK hand model, so maybe it's not that stripped down. What's in hand model? Whole bunch of stuff. Yeah, okay. No, I would make like a new class. It might be based upon this, but it would be a little bit different. Okay. So this is done. That's my ASCII shorthand for check mark. Let me make a note of where it actually is handled. It's in GK skeletal hand set positions. GK skeletal hand set positions. Let's see. Or I could go up to update hand. What does update hand have in it? All it does is call set positions. So I was sort of right the first time. Set positions. That's the one. Just has transform, rotate changes. Okay, so then the next thing I want to know is, what about loading these frames? How do I even do that? Or I don't actually have to load the frames. I have to find some way to apply any frame. So this first one is not really what I need to do. I do need to find a way to apply, say, every frame. Okay. So at this point, the frame it's already, where does that frame come from? Where does that frame come from? What? Oh, get frame. Get frame. Well, okay. I think that should be pretty easy to track where the frames are coming from. Let's play, and I'll see get frame. Okay. This recorder, leap recorder. Oh, this is another object I would end up having to. I would have ended up having to copy over to my isolated area. But now I'm not worrying so much about isolating, since I have to make something even more isolated than this code. Okay, so current frame. Okay, frames is just a big old list. And each item in it is a separate buffer of bytes. I could just call next frame, it looks like. Okay, the frames are all stored here too. There's 182 frames. Okay, got all the frames. Got them all. All the frames are here. So it seems to me that there's no interpolation here. I can also set the index. If I set the index to a new index, then the next time I get... No, I don't think that's right. Because current frame is not set by the index like that. Yeah, who knows if this code even works. It doesn't seem like it's particularly active. Speed, what's that? Current frame. So, yeah, if I set the index, it's not going to change the current frame. What I can do, I think, is use this next frame. So next frame, what does that do? So current frame, it'll create a new deserialized frame object. I think this is meant to hold like a deserialized frame. Okay. Oh, okay, I got it. So I could set the index to 0, can call next frame, it's going to return a frame deserialized from 0. Frame index. Alright, and then it will I don't get that part. Oh, wait a minute, I see what they're doing. Okay, so speed is 1. What does that mean? Okay, so logic here is if we've got some frames at all, then let's say if the frame index is past the end of the frame buffers that we've got, and we have looping set, then we will just subtract all of the count of the frames from it such that it loops back to the beginning, potentially offset from the beginning. Otherwise, if the frame index is past the beginning part and we've got loop, then loop it around to the end, some point previous to the end. Okay. So after we get past that code, the frame index is pointing to some valid location in the array or the list of frame byte buffers. And then we would take that particular frame, we would deserialize it into this current frame here and advance the frame index by the speed. And now I know that speed can only mean one thing. Speed can only mean the count of frames that will be skipped over as it gets played back. But it doesn't say anything about how that relates to frame rate or time elapsed. This is merely saying, like, if whatever we recorded at speed 1, you will play it back at sort of the 1x speed, and then if you set this to 2, it's double speed. So anyways, this is all good. This is all good. So I'm going to go ahead and see if I can make it so that I can change this code that already just kind of plays an animation to instead advance one frame at a time in response to like a keyboard press. And that might prove to me that I have the ability to control the playback such that then I could start doing my conversion stuff that I need to kind of get like this animation data into a format that my game can use, as opposed to one that is married to the Leap SDK and its binary distributables. I say that with a tiny bit of rant to it, because it feels like, I don't know, it feels like this could have been a little bit simpler, but it's not their job to at Leap Motion to make the Leap Motion make my little edge case easier. I have to remember that. They wanted to sell these little hardware devices, and probably what they did is in line with that strategy, but not mine. Okay, so I've got a Leap Recorder here. What does reset do? What does it do when it starts? Oh no, not this one. GK recording controls. So if I take out the thing is, it already starts playing right when I just launch it, so I'm kind of wondering, how do I stop that state? Is there a start to this? Where's the start? Where is the thing that starts it all recording? So here it loads in all the frames. I'm pretty sure. Let's see. Load. Yeah, it's gonna load in text asset. Oh, it's okay. Yeah, here it loads in just the raw bytes of all the frames, puts them in that list that I was looking at earlier, and okay, so I got that. There's nothing yet that starts it playing though, so I'm looking for what is the thing that starts it playing. You load in all the frames. You got your handler here, whatever that is. Life cycle event handler. Handlers. On start. It's kind of hard for me to understand what the code is that just starts it playing. So if this recorder state, if this is set to playing, then it's going to play. And here is that. Okay. So state. Okay. It defaults to it. So let me just change this to stopped. And that might be enough to make it so that I've got control of this thing, not you, Leap Motion SDK. I'm going to hit play. It's going to start in a moment. Okay. But there's something kind of like it needs to play a little bit just to kind of get the hands there. I get that. So maybe it's like because I looked through this code earlier. Maybe it's like I want to let it play a little bit. And then stop it. So that did stop it. Let me make sure I didn't have like a console error. Oh, there's some nonsense here. These are the two errors that I was like looking at before. I don't think they're germane. So let me try this. GK hand controller. It's like I need like another state. Get index. Okay. What's the stop playback key? S. Okay. Let me create like another key. Okay, here's my session goal. By the end of the session, I want to be able to advance frames one by one. That's my session goal. And I think I can do it. Advance one frame key. Let's do N for next. Advance one frame. Okay, that means I gotta create a new method in the hand controller. Also, this has to get called somewhere. Okay, so if is so, and maybe it works here too. Okay, so then inside the hand controller, let's see, let's do start playing. Start. Play recording. This is it. It's one frame. Public void. Quarter. Next frame. I think that might be it right there. What? Isn't this it right here? Isn't this what you wanted right there? Isn't that it? I thought that was it. I thought that was what you wanted. What'd I mess up? Hand control. Oh, it's GK hand control. Jesus. Still have these in here? Okay. Oh, wow. So P is pause, S is stop, and okay. Now, will you build for me? Cool. All right. Let's try it. Oh, it's got to do the whole build. Okay. Pause. It's not pausing. Stop? No. Nothing there. So the keyboard controls just don't seem to be responsive at all. So let me see with some breakpoints what's up with that. Assuming you're playing, so that should allow pausing. Am I in the debugger? Yeah. Is it loading like the is it loading like the other version of the file? Is that what's up? I thought I replaced them all. No. So that all seems right. That seems right to me. Okay, let's save that. Okay, so it feels like update's not being called. Is that right? That'd be weird. Alright, let's try it again. Oh, this one has a better chance of working because I set the controls GUI stuff. Let's see. Okay, so we have P. Dang it. No, still not going. Okay, so update's called. I think you're going through here though, right? No. Okay. Oh, this stupid thing. I didn't change it over. Friggin'. Okay, whatever. That's no problem. Do I have any of those left? It's like the old code is there. I don't want to call the old code. I want to call the new code. And controller. Okay, that might have been the last one. So my session goal is to be able to advance one frame at a time through the animation. And if I have that capability, then it's a short step. No, I shouldn't say it's a short step. That's not even true. But it's an easier step. Okay, now I'm paused. It's an easier step to capture the information I need on each frame, put it in a file that can be used for playback that doesn't require any of the Leap Motion SDK. Yes, I've achieved my session goal. So I hit the end key. It goes one frame forward at a time in the animation. There's a little jump there. That's kind of cool. Alright. Happy. Thinking about this next. The problem is I set a session goal that was just a little too easy. Forgot a large amount of time left on the clock. So let me set one more session goal for myself. I absolutely hate stopping a session mid-goal or with something that is left unfinished. It just bothers me to no end. Keeps me up, makes me get out of bed and come back and work, which isn't healthy. So I gotta set one other goal. I'm gonna make it not too hard. The next goal that I want to achieve is to create an alternate frame structure that can store the data on each frame. Does that sound like a good one? Let me write it out. If I just say it out loud, I'll lose track of my thoughts. So, this I did. And this, I thought of like 5 approaches for this problem, and I now have more confidence in this last approach than anything else. I'm deleting the rest for clarity. Now I'm saying, what can I do towards this goal that's realistic for like maybe a half hour to an hour? Copy the rotation and transforms for a hand into for a frame into a new class. That's achievable. That's not too hard. Okay, so thinking about what I want that to be. New class. I'll call it GK hand frame. Hands frame. I'm going to have it represent left and right hands. Nah, just hand frame for now. Okay. Stuff I want to track. So there's this the thing where applies a transform in a position. I mean a rotation in a position to a number of things. Might as well encapsulate that in another class. So let's call this public class transform update. And that's going to be vector 3 position. Vector 3 rotation. Okay. And for one hand, there's going to be transform updates. Let me see. It's one finger at a time. So let's call it class finger update. Each finger. It's got updates to bones and joints. Okay. And I was looking at earlier and I saw that there are a set number of there's a set number of bones and joints, but I might as well store them as like a dynamic array. That's fine. Okay, so I also need wrist, palm. I don't care about arms. I can just get rid of that data. Okay, so it's going to be finger update, thumb, index, middle, ring, pinky. It's going to be this other stuff here. Vector 3. Let's see. No, it's the same thing. Same thing. So this is, let's see. Okay, that's the finger. Okay, so yeah, it's the same thing. So palm and wrist also get that. Let's transform update. Palm, wrist. Public. I want it to be serializable. And just trying to think, does it matter if it's left or right hand? I don't think so. I don't think so. So, so if I look at a skeletal hand, add something to it. Probably easier if I just make them fingers like this. Okay, so I'm looking at all the stuff up here. I want to basically be able to copy this stuff into my frame. So if I say fingers, first I gotta allocate. I think this might be a little bit encapsulated inside a skeletal finger. Take a look at this. Yeah, it's doing some stuff here. So I could do the same thing here. Let's call this public DK hand frame finger update. Good. Okay, so unweldy. Bad naming. Finger update. I hate putting GK in the front of everything. It's kind of clunky. But anyways, it's really ugly function. So here it's the same deal. Save. It's just really friggin' annoying to have to keep on prefixing these, so I'm gonna go ahead and move them out to here. That means I get to take out some stupid looking code like that. And let's take out that GK. I don't need that. finger. It might be a quaternion. Is it a quaternion? Yes, it is. Okay, no problem. No problem. Fix that real quick. Where's my frame? GK hand frame. GK hand frame. Did I close it already? I did. So we say quaternion. I need to make this be like that. Okay, getting there. Then it's do the joints. I do have one issue here because I'm kind of copying over some stuff that might not apply. This is okay. This is okay. So I'll just follow the same pattern. Okay, so then I return the finger and I go up one level in my Inception Nightmare to GK Skeletal Hand. I say frame fingers I equal fingers I get finger. What? This one right here? That's the one I want. That surprises me. So what is fingers? GK finger model. Oh, okay. So is the skeletal finger, is it derived from finger model? Yes, it is. So I'm pretty certain that I can cast it. I think that's pretty safe. So let's do let's do a cast. What kind of skeletal hand would not have skeletal fingers on it? That would make no sense at all. So if I cast to that, it's got to be guaranteed to be a skeletal finger. Okay, so then that takes care of my fingers, and that was probably the hard part. I do palm and wrist, frame, palm. Position. Okay. That's the palm. The wrist. Same pattern. It's interesting that there is no wrist rotation. It just gets the same thing from the palm. And I'll just avoid the extra calc and reuse the palm rotation here. Oh, I can't do that very easily. No, I should be able to. Oh, yeah, I should do it. Okay, cool. So where am I at? I created the frame. I know what you're going to suggest. I'll even go along with it. I created the frame. I moved my own version of the fingers data into the frame. I moved the palm and wrist information into the frame. I'm thinking next, where do I want to call get GK hand frame from? I want to ideally call it right after I advance in a frame. That would be a good test. I think I have to add one more little bit of plumbing to GK hand controller. Let's call this GK hand controller. So I didn't add that method to the hand controller. I added it to skeletal hand. So that's where I'll need the glue. So I'll say get GK frame. And it's not defined yet. Or what do I call it? Hand frame, right? Hand frame, GK hand frame. Get GK hand frame. Not defined yet. I'll do a debug log hand frame. And that means I'll also want to put in like a 2 string in there at some point. But let's see, let's go to the hand controller. We should have the hand model in here. Let's model the hand model. Let's see. They had a lot of nice code in here that's not even being used. There's some cool stuff in here. There's like a thing to capture an image frame. I mean, I'm not going to use it, but I appreciate the effort somebody put into this. I don't know, it's good code. It's pretty clear. It doesn't seem over-engineered. I mean, I suppose you could argue it is over-engineered because there's features in here that aren't in the demo, but, you know, it's a little bit sad that they stopped maintaining it. Alright, so there's get all graphics hands. Where's hand graphics set? I didn't see that anyplace. Okay, hand graphics. Where are you set? Pretty sure that's what I want. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so get all graphics hands. It's going to return me the model. I need to create this new function. I say I was going to call it get GK hand frame. I'll say it GK say frames. This is the idea that it could return a left and a right. But for now, I'll just log the first one. Okay. Or, let's see. For each GK hand frame, or for int. That's my function right there. So go back to the hand controller. Make this friggin' function. I'm so close to meeting my second session goal. It's like a Kickstarter from my ass. It has stretch goals. stretch goals. GK hand frame, and that little stretch goal I gave myself was to copy the pertinent information for one frame of a hand animation from the leap motion specific data to a data structure entirely my own. And the reason why it has to be my own is that I don't want any dependencies off to the Leap SDK, particularly the friggin' binary distributables, which I don't want to distribute them. It's not going to help me. Okay, hand models. Okay, and the frames, it's going to be the same number as the hand models. Skeletal hand. Skeletal hand. That should do it. That should do it. That should do it. Okay. Let's see. Let me add just a basic 2-string. Come on. Oh. Yeah, that one. Okay. Vector 3 has already got a 2-string to it. So position, 2-string. I suspect this does as well. I mean, everything does. It's just some of them aren't that good. I should use a string builder, but I don't feel like it. It's just for some debugging code. You know what, this isn't that important. It's not that important. Who cares? I really don't care about this. I can just look at it inside of the debugger. I can see it's got what I need. That'll be good enough. Alright, let's get this going. Let's get it going in the debugger so I can actually see it. I'll do a build, see if everything builds. I don't care about those warnings, they go away. Okay, then inside of this kind of top level thing. Let's set the breakpoint here. Am I debugging? I am. And let's try it out. Let's try it out. Am I waiting for it to play? I am. I am waiting for it to play. It's going to build a little bit. Okay, so let's pause that. Use my new key I made to advance one frame. Breakpoint, good. So let me see if I can get some frames. This newly created format of mine, which allows me to separate from the Leap Motion SDK. Okay. There's one hand model, that's good. I'll create one frame, and I'm going to get the skeletal hand instance. No cast exception, good. Yep, good. I'm going to call my new code for getting the frame here. Allocate the frame for each finger. 5 of them. Should be 5. 5. Let's copy across the finger data. Bones. How many bones are there? 2 or 3? 4. Okay. Oh, they're not all populated. That's why. So I go bones. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so there's one null. First element's left at null. And these other ones, I should just kind of copy them all across. Not real interesting. I'm going to skip over it. Skip. Skips. Okay, now we're down to the joints. Joints, how many? 3 to 4. 3, okay. Oh yeah, okay, so this particular model doesn't have any joints. Alright, let's go up a level. So I assign the first finger, what's it look like? Good. It looks good. Lovely. Lovely. Okay. So then I just go through for the 5 fingers, copy them all across the same way. I can't see how the rest would be any different, so let's go up a level. That should be the end of the frames. Take a look at the returned value. Should be 1 frame, correct. Wrist and palm are populated, the fingers populated as expected. Okay. I know it doesn't look real impressive, it doesn't make like a cool demo. But this is getting independence. So the idea here is I have some code that I got with the Leap Motion SDK. Leap Motion is this device here that is used to record movements of hands. No, it's not actually. It's used to detect the movements of hands. And then this other utility that's shipped with the SDK performs recording. Okay. But my game has nothing to do with the Leap Motion. I'm not going to require a player to use the leap motion. I don't want to distribute the SDK with it because it's not cross-platform. So if I ever want to go to Xbox or PlayStation at some point in the future, or whatever console there is, I would be held back by the lack of binaries for those platforms. And also the SDK that I was using that had this great code for recording and playing back leap motion animation. It's an older version of SDK that's been deprecated, so I can't expect any of that code related to that to be maintained by Leap. So to gain independence from that SDK, I'm adding in an alternative recording format. I found the code that updates all of the positions of the joints and fingers, the palm, the wrist, and I looked at the numbers that Leap Motion SDK, through all of its fine calculations, are using to apply to those transforms, the rotation and position, and I just made a copy of them in my own structure. And that structure can be saved to a file, and then I can go into my code for my game, not bring over any of the Leap Motion code. I can read in this file that's been played. I can have a basic mapping of my hand models, which are for a character in the game, such that the same transforms for all the fingers and joints can be modified with that data that I recorded. So basically making my own animation file format and playback mechanism based on some existing code that Leap Motion SDK provides. So I'm in good shape to continue with that. Thank you, Zebe. I appreciate that you're here to share the moment with me. It's nice to, I'll be honest, even if I don't know it, it's nice that somebody saw it and I got to explain it, and so thank you. Yeah, so I'm in a good spot to keep going on this, and but I'm going to end the session here because it's kind of like playing blackjack. I don't want to take on one more task that I can't finish in the session. I like to end on a good note. It's kind of necessary for my psychological well-being. So that's it. Thanks for all the people who joined. I'll be back tomorrow in the evening around the same time.